In September 1960, one of Britain's first parking tickets was placed on the windscreen of a car outside of a London hotel. Unfortunately, the £2 fine had to be cancelled when they discovered that it belonged to a doctor who had answered an emergency call to help a hotel guest who had had a heart attack. 50 years later, and traffic wardens still top most polls of the unpopular and unloved people in Britain. So you would have thought that the little seaside town of Aberystwyth would have been overjoyed when they discovered that the traffic wardens were going to be disbanded. Well, apparently not, because when the drivers realised they could park however and wherever they liked, well, they did. Double yellow lines, single yellow lines, zigzags, pedestrian crossings, disabled bays, even on pavements. Wow. Tempers flared, roads got blocked, drivers started fighting in the streets. And so a year later, the town rejoiced to discover their traffic wardens were going to be back in business. We know what we should do, and we know what we shouldn't. But we do it anyway, especially if we don't think we're going to get caught. And it's not just our parking. It's the rest of society. If we feel as if we're not going to get caught, we'll do it anyway. Or at least that's what it seems like. We've just discovered that most of our banks are colluded with each other in setting interest rates to help each other out. And our politicians have had their sticky paws in the till, claiming expenses on second homes, duck houses and dance floors. And our newspapers have hacked, bribed, blackmailed their way to front page stories. And so we're left asking, what's happened to our moral compass? What's happened to our sense of right or wrong? We know what we should do. Why don't we do it? It's not even new. About 2,000 years ago, someone wrote, "I don't really understand myself, for I want to do what is right, but I don't do it. I do what I hate." And he went on to say that that's because of something he calls sin. We don't like to talk about sin much, but basically it means that our default settings have been changed. It's not a fair fight. It's not a free choice. We know what to do, but we can't choose to do it. It's why we rip people off. It's why we fiddle our expenses. It's why we listen to someone's voicemail. It's why we park in double yellow lines. It's why we can't fix society. It's why we can't fix ourselves by holding a parliamentary inquiry, a judicial review, a 12-step programme or an undercover scoop in a newspaper. It's not about changing our behaviours. It's about changing us. We need to change our default settings. We need to be reset. We need to go back to the manufacturer and let him restore the factory settings.